Thanks for tuning into the Hidden Tracks podcast. You can find us wherever you find podcasts or listen to music. When you have an opportunity, please give us a 5-star review, write a little note, tell us how we're doing. We really appreciate it. It helps us keep this thing going. If you want to reach out to us, you can find us at Facebook at Hidden Tracks. Instagram is at HiddenTracks99, and if you'd like to send in submissions or talk to us or give us any feedback about what we're doing, our email is myhiddentracks99@gmail. Thank you so much again for tuning in, and I hope you enjoy the show. Hello, everybody. Welcome again to another show of Hidden Tracks. I have today Daniel and Amy from the awesome, as they call it, Bummer Pop, and I'll see if I can get a better description, band called Future Teens out of the New England area. How are we doing today, folks?
Oh, there's no better description, really. I mean, Bummer Pop. What else do you need to know?
So Daniel, why do you call it Bummer Pop? Why do you put that as your description for the band?
Someone else did it for us.
Yeah, we just took Substream when we put out like our first singles, coined it. I believe. I mean, maybe someone used it before, but to my knowledge, no one had called it. No one had called us Bummer Pop before, and then we're like, hey, that makes sense to us, so we just rolled with it.
Amy, what would you describe if you had a, because in today's world it's all about genres and genre labeling and where do you fall under? I mean, is that what you would consistently tell people if they asked you what you were?
I think it's the best descriptor, but also a lot of people don't understand what that means, which fair. It could be so much. So my alternative is sometimes I'll call it emo adjacent.
Okay.
The real big benefit of saying Bummer Pop is that means we're the same genre as Carly Rae Jepsen. And so that's kind of why it's like extra good.
Yeah, that's what we really aspire to.
Yeah, you can fall in under many different playlists that way.
Exactly.
So, Daniel, would you like to explain how Future Teens came together?
Yes, I will give you the brief version, brief-ish. Started the concept of the band was originally started with myself and this great songwriter, Gabe Goodman. He lives in LA now. He's still doing it. He's awesome. And it was started as a joke. The premise was that the band existed in high school and then we reunited in our later years, but continued to play songs from high school. That wasn't true. It was just a concept, and it was like abandoned almost immediately because we realized that it was not good. And so we had our friend Dylan join. He's a great drummer and a tattoo artist out of Massachusetts. And then our friend Nick Cortese, he's in a band called Marinara now. So that was the original lineup. And then Gabe left to pursue more intelligent music, and Amy joined on lead guitar and vocals, and then eventually Nick and Dylan left to do their own things, and Colby, our drummer, and Maya, our bassist, joined, and that's been the lineup for a while now.
Now, when you came together and you have this lineup, was there a plan in place, or was it making music for the sake of making music?
It was initially for the sake of making music, for sure. We did not expect anything that has come our way. Like, we made Hard Feelings thinking, this is really fun. We'll play some shows, and who's to say? And then Take This to Heart took a chance on us, and we did a lot of DIY touring. And then all of a sudden, the next record was upcoming, and we had a bunch more opportunities, and it has really blown our minds that this went from like a thing that we had a really nice time doing to a thing we have a really nice time doing, and it's technically one of our jobs.
So when the first person reaches out to you when you guys are creating music and just getting together for the sake of it, and you start to see something happen, did it take a more intense turn when you started to write new music? That okay, shit, this is something now.
I think that I would say it's always a challenge to keep the quote unquote spirit of rock and roll alive. And I'll expand on that. What I mean is that when we started the band, it was literally just for fun. Hey, let's write some songs. If people listen to them, great. Otherwise, we'll have fun. And once people start paying attention, there is some external and internal pressure that starts to build up. So reminding yourself that, well, as long as like we're proud of what we're making and our live show and, people are connecting with it, then who the heck cares what else? And it's definitely takes more reminders, but we've tried to keep that alive in the band for sure.
No, Amy, did you feel pressure same way Daniel did on this?
A bit. I mean, this has always been my big dream, is making music I'm proud of with people I love, and to see that start to flourish, it's something that I very badly want to see carry on for us. And I know that to be true in one way or another for everybody. And as things started to get better and go somewhere, at first it was definitely like, oh man, this next record has to be like really great. And I think around like the breakup season, we definitely were like putting a little more pressure on ourselves to like get the guitar tones just right and make everything perfect so that things could keep going the way that they were going. And over time, both from reminding each other and from having a bunch of fun on stage, we've been able to kind of curtail that so that it's less about we need other people to love this and more about, are we proud of this? Are we like fostering this really awesome little band family that we have? Are we prioritizing the stuff that made this really fun and a big dream? And I think everything else has kind of flowed from that mindset more so than, all right, let's make something people are going to like even more than the last one.
It's a great way to approach it. Now, there's a time in everyone's lives where music changes. It goes from the first time you heard music to when you find your own way in music. And I mean, Daniel, do you remember that moment in your life when you first heard music and then when it changed for you to find your own sound?
So music generally?
Yeah.
I'd say the most defining moment, which I've since rejected in some capacity, is I was like, all I was listening to was pop punk when I was like in middle school, elementary school, and like Sum 41, Good Charlotte, Simple Plan, all these bands. And then I was getting driven to camp by my friend's older sister, and she was playing Radiohead. And I was like, what is this? And she's like, it's OK Computer by Radiohead, obviously.
Yeah.
And I was like, I've never heard this. And it blew my mind. And honestly, I was like, I don't want to listen to pop punk anymore. It's not cool. I'm going to listen to Radiohead. And that was true for a long time, honestly, until, and this, I know this isn't the case for Amy, and they will tell you, and they know much more than I do about the whole scene, but until pretty much like after college, and I was listening to my friend's radio station and they were playing some like modern emo music. I was like, oh, this is so good. Why have I not been listening to this? And that moment in the car listening to my friend's radio show was when I was like, I kind of want to start a band like this. That'd be fun. So I took a while off from emo adjacent music, but I'm back.
How about you, Amy? What was your first initial run into music, and when did it change for something? And I'd love to hear more about your thoughts, since you're more in depth with the emo music.
My like first memory of really having my mind boggled by music is So I'm the youngest of three kids. My siblings are 8 and 10 years older than me. So I really idolized them as a little kid. And my brother was getting really into pop punk. He was going to Warped Tour and, came home with like pics from the Good Charlotte gig. And found myself stealing his CDs. And I remember being in 4th grade and like watching MTV every morning and every night waiting for Sum 41 music videos to come on. That was like, I thought All Killer No Filler was like the pinnacle of rock. And honestly, the record holds up. I still love it. And that progressed into like laying on the floor when I was 15, listening to A Decade Under the Influence, that Taking Back Sunday record that I try to make Daniel listen to in the van whenever I'm driving, but we always inevitably move on.
You shouldn't. It's driver rules. I mean, driver controls the radio.
Yeah, absolutely. Some of it seems to hit for Daniel, but not enough of it that I am like truly willing to put him through it for very long. I kind of end up just putting on a podcast that we both like as soon as Maya and Colby fall asleep. And I don't know, I just have always really gravitated toward pop punk and emo. It's like that and pop music is what gets me through my day. And then I had like a confusing stretch with music. I went to jazz school and fell into a lot of things in like groove and blues, which was really fun and super cool and very much in line with like what my dad was exposing me to when I was a little kid. And immediately after college, I got a job on cruise ships. I was just a solo act on ships, me and a guitar running around bar to bar playing whatever the people wanted me to play. And while I grew significantly, both in what I listened to and how my skills changed and my ear got better, and like what I looked for in compelling songwriting all like moved forward in a lot of ways. I hated music by the end of it. I hated everything. It's like, if I have to play You Ought to Know one more fucking time. Like now I've like come back to that record and love it, but it was during the time when I was trying really hard to leave ships and I needed to just like move on with my life, but the money was too good. That's around the time I met Daniel and Future Teens became a part of my life, and I was finally like, oh shit, this is the music I've like been wanting to make this whole time and never had like people around me that liked it. Here we go. And I've been so thankful for that ever since.
Wow, that's a great story. And I spoke to someone recently too, and I slips my mind who it was, but talking about the cruise ship life and doing things on cruise ships. And to me, like it's the first time you do it, it's exciting. And then after the second cruise ship you get on, you're like, I don't want to do this anymore, is pretty. But again, I think the money came into play. They're like, the money was too good for me not to do it. And there was nothing else I, was jumping into at the time.
Yep. Exactly how it was for me. It was great. I wouldn't trade it. I had, a really wonderful time and got to do stuff and go places I never would have gone otherwise. But I really got sick of so much music. And there are still songs that I hear and I'm like jolted back to that time. Like, oh,
you get seasick immediately as the song comes on the radio.
Firmly. Yeah. Jimmy Buffett was on my no-fly list. I just wouldn't play
it. Daniel, what was the first time you touched a musical instrument, and what was it?
Well, my dad used to play us guitar and sing, so I probably physically touched a guitar when I was very young. But my first time learning was my friend got a guitar and he started taking lessons. I was like, oh, that's so cool. This was like early middle school. And I told my parents, I was like, oh, Eric got a guitar. And they're like, oh, that's great. And then for Christmas or Hanukkah or whatever that year, they gave me a bass guitar, like a starter Ibanez, and I was so disappointed because I was like, I wanted a guitar, but I didn't say that because I felt bad because they got me a really nice gift. So I then took lessons for like 8 years just out of guilt. And I'm so glad I did, because I think bass is like the ultimate first instrument to start on. It kind of just gives you a good baseline,
There it is.
for
Waiting.
how
I knew it was coming.
for how music works. But yeah, that was my first.
Yeah, and I there have been other people who've been like, yeah, no, I got a bass, and they do that disappointment thing, and I'm always like, well, yeah, if you watched Poison, no one remembers Bobby Dahl, they remembered CC DeVille, on that guitar. It's always that bassist falls in line, but where it comes down to it is to have a great band, you need a great bassist, because that's where it all comes from,
I like your attitude.
Yeah. Amy, what was your first instrument that you touched or then went to lessons to?
Guitar. My dad played, or no, wait, that's not true. Piano.
There it is. One of the 90 million people like us out there. Yeah, that started on piano.
First one was piano. My mom played piano. My dad played guitar. And they put me in piano lessons first. Learned how to read music and stuff. And I liked it. I didn't love it. I really wanted to play guitar. I do wish I had stuck with it. I'm absolutely abysmal with a keyboard now.
Every single person that started out on piano and gave it up says, I wish I stuck with it.
Yeah, I have been trying to kind of pick that back up for the last year or so, and my hands just don't work that way anymore. I'm so like just visually and in my brain so used to functioning around like a guitar neck that a keyboard just makes almost no sense to me. But I moved on to guitar when I was like 8 years old. My dad got me my first guitar. And it was a blast, and I just never put it down. Took lessons on and off. And then was like hell-bent on studying guitar. And my family, rightfully so, was like, you sure? And I eventually won that battle and went to school for guitar. And I'm really glad I play pop punk now and not jazz.
Now, do you remember, Daniel, the first time that you played in front of someone live that wasn't your family? The first time, like when you had a show or a talent show or something, do you remember that moment?
Yes, I do. It was, I was playing bass with my good friend Danny, still friends, and my not good friend other Eric, who's, okay, so here's the story. There was a talent show. We decided we were going to play That Thing You Do.
Great song, by the way.
Great song. Actually, we got to cover it recently for a comp, actually. And I learned the bass line, and then Danny was going to sing, and we are going to have Jesse on drums. Then Danny was like, I'm too shy to sing, even though he's got a great voice. So he had this like sort of like, he was kind of a tool, like popular kids sing. I don't know why he could not carry a tune at all, like completely tone deaf. I am so curious to hear what it sounded like, because it was probably really, really bad. But that was my first performance live. And I honestly couldn't ask for a better first song to cover, because it still hits.
Now, after you got past the apprehension of performing in front of people, did you get the bug immediately when it was over and say, well, I loved every set, again, after all that nervousness? And if you weren't nervous, I'm going to call you out and tell you you're fucking lying. But like after that was gone, did that like just stoke that little bit of fire? Like, wow, that's cool. I want to do that again.
Yeah, I think some older kids, a year above me, found out I played bass and asked me to play in their band, and that kind of started it.
What was the name of the first band you were in?
Unfortunately, the name of the first band I was in was Ace and Artemis. No idea why or what that means. I mean, it could be worse. Like, it's not offensive, but it's pretty nonsensical. And so is the music, frankly. The lyrics were like, I don't know. This guy who wrote the lyrics is a very talented musician, but he was just going through a big. I don't know if you ever listen to that band, Fiery Furnaces. You don't really hear about them much anymore.
No.
But their lyrics were like purposefully absurd, and he was really into that, and it was a little cringy in retrospect. But
Amy, how about you? When was the first time that you played live in front of someone that wasn't family?
Well, I am from a small town in Missouri, and a logical conclusion to that being my upbringing, I was brought up in the church. So my first performances were playing at either at like sorry, my dog is making a bunch of noise.
That's all right. We're pet friendly here.
Great. Yeah. He's gonna like groan, and because he's like a very vocal dude.
Yeah, that's all right. You won't be the first, and I put disclaimers at the timestamp to when people are listening to it to make sure their dog's out of the room because they'll go nuts for no reason.
Perfect. Yeah, he'll probably just chill, but you never know with him. He's a vocal guy. Yeah, my first times playing music in front of people were at church, or I was, if you know, I was a Young Life kid, and
I was in Young Life as well growing up.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. So,
okay.
Yeah, so there's a lot of singing going on all the time.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, that's how they got me was, hey, do you want to play music at club? And
that's how they got me too.
Wow, one of the first people in a very long time I've met who can relate to that life experience. After that, the first time I played music in front of people and I was like really stoked about it and really cared about it was my own not very good high school band, where I was like 16. I was an athlete growing up, and that was like the most important thing in the world to me. And then I had like a, high school sports career ending injury that ended up being one of the better things that could have happened to me. Because then I ended up joining a pop punk band in the town over with a bunch of like 22-year-old boys. My parents were really concerned and had them over for pizza to make sure they were acceptable bandmates. We were called Colors You Can't See. What does that mean? I don't know.
It's just for colorblind people. It's fine. Was that the name of the very first band you were in?
Yeah.
Okay.
That was it.
Colors You Can't See. Awesome.
Yeah. It was, I've looked back at it and it wasn't terrible, but it wasn't great either.
No, it's not bad. Listen, I'm staring at a wall filled with music right now, and I mean I could pick out 30 names right now of bands that I like that I'm like, yeah, that I don't get that name.
This is like only related because of names. But I think this story is absolutely insane. Future Teens is for better or for worse on TikTok, and it's my like personal shitpost playground. And someone got into an argument in the comments with a Future Teens fan about our name being weird. That went from this is a really weird account name to shaming furries over somehow. I don't know what that pipeline was.
Fucking escalated quickly. I mean, I love the escalation process and arguments and to see where they come in on.
It was wild. I try not to ask questions I don't want the answers to, so I didn't actually look at what that process was and simply forcefully hit the block button. But I feel like that is my favorite time someone has ever questioned our band name, and B, the best descriptor of TikTok I'll ever have.
Yeah, and when it comes to band names too, and I love the question of the first band you're ever in, because it is funny to go back and think about what you named something and or why. And there's so many bands out there that are uber famous, and you ask them where their name came from, they're like, I don't even fucking know. I think somebody just threw it out and we're like, yeah, we'll just go with that, and then it sticks. And other people put a lot of equity into coming up with a perfect name for some reason. Did you guys put a lot of equity into Daniel coming up with Future Teens? I mean, I know you explained it a little bit before, but I mean,
it was so the fake answer when people ask me what's that band name, I mean, like, but I can tell they don't want to hear a longer story. Is, well, if we live long enough, I'll be Future Teens. And they're like, okay. And then they kind of stop asking questions. But the real answer is that, and this is actually a relevant question to a lot of bands. So let's instead of taking my defunct pop band that I don't want to talk about, let's talk about, so let's say, Panic at the Disco is a perfect example.
Mm-hmm.
So when we were teens, they came out, people listened to them. And then now current teenagers who were back then future teenagers
Mm-hmm.
are listening to them. So I wondered, does a band like Panic at the Disco always have teenage fans? Will future teens listen to them, or will their fans age with them and they'll evolve and etc.? Turns out it's been like a combination of both for Panic at the Disco. But I posed that question. I wonder if future teens will listen to blah, blah, blah. And I said, that's kind of an interesting phrase. And that's the true reason, or the true story of how it came to be.
I like that answer, and I'm glad I didn't get, I'll strike that other one of what it is. But no, I mean, that's a great way to look at it too. I mean, there's certain things where, there's some bands that I absolutely love, like the Get Up Kids. I mean, they're the Get Up adults now. I mean, so one day they're going to be the Get Up old age guys. So it's going to be one of those things where sometimes if a name sticks in your band for a long time, I mean, you got to find something that'll last too. So I like that. Next question is going to be, and I'll start with Daniel. If a stranger walked up to you on the street, you told them you played music, what song of yours would you give them and say, here, this is it?
Probably, this is a tough one, but I'm going to have to say our cover of All Star.
All right. So, I'm sure you probably haven't listened to our show, but we've had some major Smash Mouth stuff go down.
Really? Drama?
So to the point where one of our guests had Smash Mouth reach back out to him directly through Twitter. So, I mean, there's...
Smash Mouth does follow us on Twitter.
Yeah.
I'm not even kidding. They literally do. Because of the cover we recorded. I think...
So why would you give him that song?
Because they will know it. And then maybe there's a chance they'll think that like this is the original version. And that the other one's a cover. I just, make things interesting. I don't know. I'd probably just tell them to listen to the new EP is my real answer, because that's, I think we've evolved as a band. And also there's a lyric in Love or Whatever, which is our top song on Spotify, which says that I went on a date with a 22-year-old. Which I did when I was 25, and now I'm 32. And so I don't want anyone to think that I'm a creeper for going out with someone 10 years my junior.
In your defense, Daniel, you do also say that you're 25 and 26 in
That's
that
true.
song.
Like I'm dating myself purposefully in that song.
That was a good
So
choice.
there's no repercussions and there's no, investigations.
No investigation.
No investigations. So you have to put it all in the song. You can't leave anything for innuendo.
This is the modern world we live in.
Yes.
Yeah, the original verse was actually, she's 22 years old and I am a perfectly acceptable age for this date to be
And I've
occurring.
done the math.
No one worry, this record came out in 2017, whenever the hell it did. So this is all above board. The secret verse.
Yes, secret verse.
we are stamped certified that it was an age appropriate relationship.
Yeah, confirmed.
So what song would you play, Amy, to a stranger if they said, well, what kind of music do you play? What song of yours would you give them? Please don't say All Star.
I do love that cover, and it very much embodies the like, let's try to never take ourselves too seriously ethos of the band. However, I think I would probably play them Guest Room, and mostly because I think that EP is like the most representative of us as a band thus far, and is like a good intro. But also, maybe it's like an emo boy that like has 90 seconds of attention span maximum. So maybe it could be in love or whatever, but I think most of the time guest room.
Okay. Guest room it is. It's striking all-star from it. When was Future Teens' first show together? When did you guys first perform, and how did it go?
My first show with the band was at Charlie's Kitchen.
Mm-hmm.
What was the first actual show, Daniel?
It was in a Boston. I went to Boston College, and it was in it was a basement show, and we added an intro to the first song, like right before. There's actually a video of this on the internet, or there used to be, and we didn't specify how we were going to cue Dylan, our drummer, when to come in, like for the song to start. So we played the intro for so long, and it was so bad.
There's no yelling, being like, "Hey, dude, now."
It was just like confused looks. I think that video is on the internet.
All right, I got a link to that then.
Yeah, definitely.
What was your first concert you ever saw, Daniel?
The first concert I saw was at a small club in, I think it was maybe it was in Providence or Pawtucket, Rhode Island. It was OK Go opening for Phantom Planet. I had never heard of OK Go. This was like before it was probably their first full US tour. I think it was in 2004. And it was when you could still smoke at venues. And so it was an 18 plus show, but our friend's mom got us in somehow. So there was just these like 14-year-olds or whatever standing in this smoky club in Providence, Rhode Island, just so excited to see Phantom Planet and Jason Schwartzman do their thing.
Wow, smoking inside.
I know.
Oof. To think back, they were smoking on airplanes. There's still ashtrays on some airplanes. So
yeah, that's wild.
Amy, what was your first show? And I don't need a cool answer, even if it was, because my answer is dog shit. So, but what was your first? And I know Missouri and Young Life and church, it lends itself to first shows being somewhat different. So
yeah, my first show was at the local Christian skate park called The Bridge. I'm not 100% sure what the bands were. I think the first one was like the local cool guy 8th graders in a band called Sounding the Silence. Obviously Christian. Mm-hmm. Later went on to change their name to Man Down, which is a reference to being on your knees in prayer. So,
oh my God.
Big sweeties all around. I think all those guys are still in the music industry in one way or another. The other contender, holy shit, what were these bands called? As Cities Burn was one. It was a hardcore show.
Yeah. Saw them in September.
They're a lot of fun. That show is sick as hell. That's the like first really memorable show for me, because I not only loved pop punk, I went to a shit ton of hardcore shows. And that was my first like big exposure to it. The Chariot was the headliner. That's who it was. It was a wild ride and set the bar pretty high.
Do you have is that your favorite show? I know it's always hard to pick, because for me, sometimes the last show I saw is my favorite show, but do you have a favorite show you ever attended?
Oh, great question. That one's very memorable, if only because it was, a very definitely a formative memory. Favorite show ever, though? I don't know. What about you, Daniel?
Favorite or most memorable show for me was seeing another show I convinced my mom to get me into because it was 18 plus. I think I was 16. I saw this band, the Wrens from New Jersey, who were like probably affected how I view guitar playing more than any other band. And they played at the Middle East in Boston, and it was just, and they just don't tour at all. And so I was like, I know I need to go to the show. And it honestly, yeah, it blew my mind. It was great.
Is there anyone that you ever played with or like opened for, or they opened for you, that you stood back and just watched every second of what they were doing, Daniel?
Yeah, I would say honestly, we've gotten to play with the Wonder Years a lot, and they evolved from a band getting like 25, 30-minute sets and just kind of like flying through it and going full speed ahead to playing like hour and 40-minute sets. And there is a huge difference. Like when we get on stage, when we play 45-minute sets, we are exhausted afterward. And so watching how they create sort of a narrative within their very long set, which people are very pumped for, but it's much harder. It gets exponentially more difficult as you add more time to a set. So watching how they do that is very impressive, and keep it high energy and interesting and still storytelling. And I'm always impressed when we see them and get to play with them.
Would that be the same for you, Amy?
Yeah, I could go to Wonder Years shows every night and find something new that's really like exciting and inspiring for me.
Now, is there a moment in your life that music played a huge part, or still when you think about that memory, that that memory is encompassed just by music itself, Daniel? Like, is there, some moment, whether it was a graduation, a funeral, a wedding, something that just always sticks out in your mind that's just surrounded by music?
Yeah, I'd say another eye-opening experience for me was at my mom's church, there was a memorial service for someone who had passed away, just kind of like outside the church. And the reverend at the church at the time knew I played guitar, and she was like, "Hey, can you come play a few songs?" Like that, this person who passed away was their favorite songs, and it was 3 James Taylor songs. I was like, yeah, sure. I'd never learned any James Taylor songs, but my dad is a huge James Taylor fan. And I was like, yeah, how hard can it be? And learning his songs, I was like, holy crap. He makes his songs sound so simple, but they're very complex, a lot of chord changes. So I actually asked my friend Will to sing while I played guitar, just because I was having so much trouble learning the songs. And then actually going and playing was, I think that was probably one of the only times I played at a memorial service, but it's very intense. Mm-hmm. And in a good way, because it's remembering someone who's passed away, but also music is so tied with memory and love, and especially like freaking Close Your Eyes by James Taylor. Like, come on, it's just, it was really intense and beautiful. And that kindled my love for James Taylor's music and learning his songs, and affected my songwriting in a big way.
Wow. Yeah, those are the moments, and I'll say it for the 1000th time on the show. Music is the closest thing in reality we have to a time machine. You can listen to a song and it can bring you directly to the moment maybe you first heard that song or impacted you the most, and it's amazing to me how there really isn't anything else in my life that does that.
100%.
Amy, do you have a moment in your life that is just always surrounded by music that you go back to and think about?
Yeah. Probably the one I think about most is also a memorial that I played at, but less of a service and more of what the person who passed always called her future memorial her death party. Mm-hmm. She didn't want this like, bummer of a time hanging over everybody. She wanted all of the people that loved her to, drink margaritas and like clean out her house.
Yeah, listen, I'm right there with you. I need 3 minutes of tears, and then the rest I want everybody laughing.
Yeah, exactly. It was this woman I worked for immediately after college. Like, she kind of drove me to get the cruise ship gig, both because she was encouraging me in music and also because she drove me fucking crazy. Marin was so special, and I was doing like home health care for her. Basically, she hired people like me who didn't have that experience because she knew that we would treat her like a person rather than like a patient.
Mm-hmm.
And she very quickly became my best friend. And I had about 6 months with her before she passed. And, you know, she knew it was coming, planned this party. And she asked me to play Your Love by The Outfield. Because toward the end, as she was receiving treatment and stuff, she would have me play music for her. And that was one of her favorite things I played. And there was this really beautiful stretch of the memorial where we were all sitting on the ground, and I played a couple of songs, and another musician that worked for her played a couple of songs. He played Rocky Raccoon because he used to sing it to her dog. And then all of us together, she wanted us all together to sing Brown Eyed Girl. And it was just very, very special. But the thing that I cling to most is before she died, she was like, Aim, come here. I got a question for you. Tell me if you think this is too fucked up. So I'm going to be cremated, right? What if when I'm gone and I'm cremated and there's a bowl of my ashes at the death party, which is in and of itself pretty fucking unhinged to just say you want a bowl of your ashes to be at the death party.
So there's a bowl, there's a credit card, there's a rolled up $100 bill, and a mirror.
Yeah, it absolutely insane. She goes, so, you know, I want people to be able to, you know, take a scoop of me. Verbatim, take a scoop of me.
Oh my God.
And as they're doing that, what if we were able to like rig up a motion sensor or something so that as they're getting in there, you know, taking some of me, it goes, take another little piece of my heart now, baby. To which I said, if they don't think that's funny, they don't know you well enough to be at this death party. So she got on the internet, bought a motion sensor, and asked me to rig it up so that when she inevitably passed, however many moons later, I could set that up for her.
Wow.
And, you know, we did, except it wasn't a bowl of her. Her ashes were put in a baggie next to another baggie with seeds for her favorite flower. And there was a bowl of those.
Okay.
Much, much less spooky. But that day, it's like such a wide range of music and a wide range of emotions attached to that music that is like a constant reminder of like what performance can do and mean, and what even a song like Piece of My Heart can, like the insane range of application and emotion that can come from something like that. And it's to me very, very powerful and engaging.
Wow. Two great fucking stories, and holy shit. I'm going to keep it really death-worthy now. Then I'm not, I won't jump up to something. I'll just stay since we're already in that mood. All right, Daniel, 5 minutes left to live. Impending doom, meteor coming to hit the earth, and you're forced to listen to one song. What song would you listen to?
Ooh. I've thought about this because I, like anyone else, wonder maybe this is not like everyone else, but I'm like, well, I should probably have my favorite song saved on my iPhone just in case this plane crashes and I just need to listen to it. Like, I don't know if I'm going to, but just in case. Maybe everyone doesn't do that.
I have a funeral playlist for people to play at my funeral. So, like,
do you really?
Yeah.
Honestly, love that idea. I might start my own funeral playlist.
Yeah,
same.
These have to be played. You have to play these songs. That's it.
I don't know. Okay, so this is assuming I want to listen to music, right?
No, it's not. You have to listen to music.
Okay, like, so someone's like, you have to put a song on.
You have to put a song on.
Well, I'm torn between wanting to like listen to something soothing, which won't work, or like just go real hard, like put on like Explosions in the Sky and just be like, fuck yeah, like This is
Hey,
it.
listen, Welcome Ghost is on my funeral playlist.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yeah, honestly, maybe if I'm going to lean into the quote unquote epicness of that moment, then I guess some freaking explosions and just like feel like I'm in a Friday Night Lights episode for the end of my life. That sounds not so bad.
Yeah. All right. How about you, Amy?
I'm listening to Carly Rae Jepsen. Um,
Because this song might be 3 minutes long and your song could come on next on the playlist, on the Spotify playlist, because you're same.
True, we are. I would love to die listening to my own voice. No, absolutely no, certainly not. I don't know. My immediate instinct was "Run Away with Me," and then if I time it just right, I could go as I loop the song and the intro plays again.
I like your thinking. I mean, that's a thought out process. You know, I've had people be like, "Oh, it's Stairway to Heaven." Definitely. I'm like, it's a fucking 9-minute song, man. Like,
I would honestly would not mind never hearing that song again.
yeah. All right, a little more fun now. So I'll put this in a different way. I always say Rolling Stone will ask you what your favorite band is. I will ask you, Daniel, do you have a band that's never let you down? And listen, I know there's some bad songs by great bands on albums, but just a band that constantly puts out stuff that you're always excited to hear, or that is no longer around that you were excited to hear when they were around.
Good question. I'd say the most recent band I feel that way about is Oso Oso.
Uh-huh.
I just think I'm always really excited to see what Jade is going to do. They actually just put out a song like yesterday, and it's so different from anything they've put out and so good. It almost sounds like Oasis or something. And I'm like, okay, this band just does as the kids say, does not miss. Yeah, Oso, I really love, and like at this point, I'm so jaded about music, which I know isn't cool, but that's just the reality of how many audiobooks I listen to.
Mm-hmm.
That when a band's like, here's some singles, I'm like, I'm just gonna wait for the album. Like, I don't really care. I want to hear the whole album. But when Oso is like, here's one song, I'm like, all right, put it on right now. I'll listen to it. Which is a rare band for me.
Yeah. So I want to expound on that because you brought it up, and I'm an old man now. I'm in my mid 40s. Okay, and I grew up album where you were totally committed because you only had enough money to buy one album, and that was it. And now in the singles game, I mean, you as a band, as an entity, I mean, how do you think about that? I mean, is that in your thought process nowadays?
Like, well,
like pumping out singles before an album comes out, and you know, I mean, I'll hear a song sometimes. I'll be like, wow, I really like this band, and I go to listen to them, and they have 2 singles, and I'm like, fuck, okay.
Yeah, we have, for what I think, as when Amy and I are writing songs, we're a similar age, so this probably plays into it. We end up writing sort of
more than one.
More than one what?
You end up writing more than one song?
Well, that is true. No, but when we're writing for a record, we write a lot of stuff together, but the concepts for the songs come from like just our own individual lives. And 3 out of 3, or whatever, if you want to count the EP, 4 to 3 times, we're writing from like a similar place. And so the album ends up having a theme without any intention of like, okay, we're going to write an album about breakups. Like that was not a goal. It just happened to be that we were both going through 2 different kinds of breakups, and those are the songs we're writing. So I definitely like that we are thinking about or end up with sort of a theme for our albums, and it feels cohesive. And then we kind of work backwards. We're like, all right, what songs do we feel like would represent this album in a way that is going to make someone want to listen to it? But we're not thinking single first. That's just not in my wheelhouse, I don't think.
I appreciate that.
I mean, yeah, I'm a purist too. I used to buy records at Newbury Comics or CDs based on the art alone.
Yeah, the art or record label, that's what it was for me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or like there were these 2 guys who worked at Newbury Comics, and I'd be like, all right, I have $12 of allowance. Like, what can I get? What should I get? And I remember this guy, Rob, he's a comedian in Boston. He was like, buy the Get Up Kids, something to write home about. And I was like, okay, I'll buy it. And I bought it. And I was like, holy shit, this is so good. And it's got robots on it.
Yeah, I mean, that was, I found a lot of my music, and it was because of that kind of record store person, like, buy this, or here, listen to this.
Yeah.
And I'm sorry we got away from you, Amy, for asking about your favorite band, or lack thereof, a band that's never let you down. So I'm going to throw that to you now.
Yeah. Gosh, I mean, my like obvious answer is the Wonder Years, but to escape talking about them as much as I know that we are wont to do, in terms of like lately, Pronoun is a big one for me. Elise can be so self-deprecating about her work, but like there are no misses to me. I think her songwriting is awesome, and just like really want to see more and more from her. And then in terms of like a band that didn't let me down while they existed, but let me down by breaking up before I ever got to see them, Valencia.
Yeah, great band. So let's go into something a little different. Do you have Amy, I'll stay with you here. Do you have, people call it a guilty pleasure, but I'll call it something that someone would be really surprised you get a lot of enjoyment out of listening to?
Ooh. Great question. I have like...
Wait, Amy, we have the same answer.
Do we?
Yeah. You ready?
Yeah.
Dan and Shay.
Oh, you're right. Yeah, that is it. That's the answer. I was trying to think of like, it's definitely like a pop country band. I just don't know which one. Dan and Shay for sure.
Awesome. I love how you both have the same. Is that like in the van comes on and you just both sing to it?
Yeah. I think you introduced us to Tequila, right?
I think, no, Colby did.
Oh, it was Colby.
And then whenever I forget what their name is, which unfortunately and weirdly happens all the time, despite Dan and Shay being very high on my most listened to artists on my 2021 Wrapped. Thank you, Spotify, for that shameful reminder. I will often forget their name and say, Daniel, will you put on the Tequila Boys?
Oh, yeah.
But it bangs. It's so good.
Awesome. I love it. I love how Daniel had to call it out too. All right. So, I mean, exciting news for you guys. You guys are going across the pond here, toward beginning of the summer. How are you guys feeling about that? Going to Netherlands, UK to play? I mean, that's pretty exciting news.
I still can't believe it's real.
Yeah, that's where I'm at. It's like, I'll believe it when we're on stage.
Yeah.
Like, until that moment, I'm like, yeah. I mean, there's been so much in flux the past 2 years, obviously, that I already like played a lot of life by ear, but especially lately, I'm like, well, I hope this good thing happens, and if it does, great, and if not, then I'll just do something else. I'm trying to keep that attitude.
It's a good attitude to have, that whole, booking stuff. And listen, we've all been disappointed many a time about this in the past couple of years of being like, oh my God, great, it's back. And then the day before, oh, sorry, it's canceled. You're like, fuck.
Yeah.
Yeah. Trying to be cautiously optimistic about this year and touring. And I mean, going to the UK has always been kind of what felt like a pipe dream, and getting to actually do it is so surreal. We're really stoked. I hope that everything holds out COVID-wise and we can do it.
Well, I hope it does too, for your sake. I think you guys are fantastic, and I wish you guys all the best. It takes a lot for me to get excited about something, especially when it comes to music, because there's so much, and I spend so much time with music, that when something excites me as much as hearing what it is you do, just made me have to reach out, because I was this is where I want good things to happen to good and talented people that truly deserve it, especially when you create such great music. So
Thank you. That's
Thanks.
very high praise.
So we're going to come in on our time here. We will come into our final segment. It's called our Weekly Threes. It's 3 things you're listening to right now that you'd like people to listen to. And Daniel, you mentioned audiobooks before, and that's totally fine if you have an audiobook, but it's things that are, stuff that's going in your ears that you would like people to check out. 3 things. I'll start with whoever would be ready or has their Spotify playlist open or ready to see 3 things you're listening to.
Amy, do you have things in mind?
I do.
Go for it.
A band from here in Boston called Shallow Pools.
Mm-hmm.
I love them so much. And then Magnolia Park. They're like a really amazing pop punk band. And Rosie Tucker. The song Habanero is absolutely bonkers.
That was a good song. You played that for us. Okay. Mine are going to be Bill Evans. That's all. I've had a hard time listening. So I've been listening to a lot of audiobooks, Stephen King audiobooks specifically. Everyone should go listen to The Shining. It'll make you hate the movie. Even though I like the movie, it'll still make you hate it. And then you should listen to Bill Evans because sometimes you don't want to hear any lyrics. And then, well, I'm looking at my Spotify right now. I don't know. I don't really listen to that much music anymore. I feel like, I really like the new Jody record. They put a record out not too long ago. I don't know. Oh, and then someone introduced me to a Paul McCartney record from like the 80s, in the 70s that I'd never heard. And I was like, nah, Paul McCartney, and I'm more of a George Harrison guy.
Yeah.
And then they put on Ram by Paul McCartney, and I was like, oh, this is so good. Yeah.
Okay.
Those are my very disparate recommendations.
Awesome. All right, I got my 3 for this week. My first one is a band called Erica Drive. They're emo punk rock and roll from the UK. There's an album called The Hate, The Hurt, The Healing. Next is a band called Trophy Eyes, Australian band. They're modern rock, pop, emo, whatever. But there's a song called Nobody Said. And last but not least, a band called Heart of Gold, indie rock from Minneapolis. It's a song called Respect. So those are my 3 for this week. Daniel, Amy, thank you so much for being here. I'd like to give you an opportunity to let people know how to find all your stuff, throw all your handles out there for everyone to check out.
Yeah, we are Future Teens USA on, I think, everything.
Are we Future Teens of... Oh, no, that's our email address. You can email us at futureteensofamerica@gmail.com if you want to do that for some reason.
I did.
You did. That's true. We'll be on anyone's podcast.
It is a shockingly decent way to get a hold of us.
Yes, don't message us on Instagram because the message function is totally screwy. It's like you can't search. You don't know who's doing what.
Emails make me anxious, but not half as anxious as social media makes me. So,
yeah, I'm the same way. I hate the social media. It gives me anxiety, and that's why I'd just rather reach out through email.
There you go.
But thank you both for being here. This was I had a great time. Look forward to some great things coming from you in the future. So thank you so much for all you do. Thank you for what you've already created. We look forward to some more here soon.
Thanks so much.
Thank you.
So everyone out there in the world, you know what your job is to do next. Go out, let's listen to Future Teens, and have a great fucking time.
Hell yeah.
Found a good way to pass for fine. Here in the corner of my mind. Simply say I'm alright. Maybe underthink this time. So I practiced and I've tried.
have a guest room yet. How can I expect to die like that with space that's shared and rent that's due, and it's still my turn to vacuum? Lived past my first slide in the dirt. Never thought my 20s could come first. I've talked to many friends down over the phone, not to meet up at our next milestone. If I'm gonna be somebody deliberately alive, I wanna do it right. I'll pick somebody on the internet to talk through things I don't know how to fix, but it's all exercises in buoyancy, not insured for the help that I need. And I give myself bad lips and chewing on my cheeks when I'm anxious. So I've told a few friends who say be gentle kid, but that only works some of the time. If I'm gonna be somebody deliberately alive, how do I do it right? If I'm gonna be somebody deliberately alive, how can I do it right? Not sure which one I feel worse. Guess I'll take whatever comes first. It's not like I had to say and being bored. At least I'm not convinced I deserve either one anymore. Not sure which one I feel worse. Guess I'll take whatever comes first. It's not like I had to say and being bored. At least I'm not convinced I deserve either one anymore. Not sure which one I feel worse. Guess I'll take whatever comes first. Not like I had to say and being bored. At least I'm not convinced I deserve either one. I'm not convinced I deserve either one. I'm not convinced I deserve either one anymore.
Thanks again for tuning into the Hidden Tracks podcast. We hope you enjoyed this week's show. Don't forget to follow us on Instagram at HiddenTracks99. Also, send all your submissions to myhiddentracks99@gmail.com. Tune in next week. You may find your new favorite band, and don't forget to go out and have a great fucking time.